Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome back, everybody, for another edition of Thursday Thoughts. I'm so excited and glad to have you all with us today. Again, mashallah, because we are going to be talking to, subhanallah, one of Coach Yusra's alumni. So she's come on, Coach Selcan, and we met. Well, she's in Doha next to me. Yay! I found someone in my tribe near me. Alhamdulillah. So we've been talking, obviously offline, and now I've convinced her and asked her to please come and talk to all of you about all the lovely things that she does, and she's going to be sharing what she does. Inshallah. I'm going to introduce her in just a second, but just before we start, I just want to let everybody know that we have got the next course for all of the inner tribe members and the supporters. So on the 22nd of January, inshallah, in 10 days from now at 10 a.m., you'll be joined with Coach Farida Umar, who is our confidence and productivity coach, inshallah. And she'll be going through how to be bold and be you, right? So how to feel comfortable in your own skin, right? All of those things that I think a lot of us do struggle with, right? It's difficult sometimes. And part of the reason why I joined Coach Yusra was because I struggled in my own skin. So imagine if I'm just confident. Imagine if I'm confident. Did everyone hear that sentence? Alhamdulillah, I'm getting there, don't worry. Anyway, it's so wonderful to have Coach Selcan here today and Coach Yusra. And Yusra is going to also be doing another course for us with everyone on the inner tribe and in the supporters. And that will be in February. So she's just going to tell you a little bit about that. And then we're going to talk to Coach Selcan as well about what she does. Finally, just before I go, if you look in the description box, you'll see how to join Coach Selcan and Coach Yusra and the Parenting Tribe. All of our links are down there, so you can have a look, join us, watch the program and watch what we do. And don't forget to watch the old videos as well. So sometimes people ask me questions in the WhatsApp group, and I've just sent you videos from what we've already done, because mashallah we do quite a lot of videos now and then. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you Coach Selcan, and then it'll be, actually, you know what, I'm going to send this to you, Yusra. You can talk about your challenge and then you can introduce Selcan. Is that okay? Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's kind
that's
of
fine.
weird talk. Okay, so
No
I've sent it.
problem.
All right then. I'm sorry, ladies. I'm going to be listening offline, but Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much again for joining us, and see you later.
Bye, Sarah. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Awesome to have you in here, Selcan. As always, I haven't spoken to you in a while, and I'm super excited to finally have another conversation with you. I know our conversations always get super exciting, right? But before I go on and on, I'm just quickly going to read this introduction. So, Selcan is a Pilates coach, a personal trainer, and a mom of 3. She is certified with the Australian Physiotherapy and Pilates Institute in London. She runs her own Pilates classes. She does it online as well as face-to-face in Doha. So all my ladies in Doha, you want Pilates classes, Selcan is a lady to go to, right? She's also a Girl Gone Strong women's coaching specialist, offering personal training online. And knowing her, she's also doing a master's degree in psychology, which is the same degree that I am doing. So yes, we've been having an amazing time learning, growing, challenging each other's thoughts, because we don't always see eye to eye, which is amazing, which is the only way to grow, really, right? If you're staying in your own echo chamber, then you're not really growing. So Selcan, thank you so much for being here. Now let me quickly talk about the course that's coming up in February. This is really to prepare you for Ramadan. I see a lot of people want to enter Ramadan being healthy and all these things, but they don't prepare for it. So the course that I've prepared for you in February is very much to get you to slowly start changing your eating behaviors, right? And your movements and all these things, so that you can get into Ramadan feeling your healthiest self, in order for you to do the ibadas that you want to do, to pray feeling amazing and energetic, and not, which is how we normally feel, right? You're eating iftar, the next minute you're like, oh my god, why did I eat so much? I can't even stand up and pray now. So this whole course is very much around helping you change your eating and movement behaviors so you can start Ramadan with the right foot. Now, Saljan,
Yes.
welcome. I know I've given you a brief introduction, but tell us something else about you. What is it that I haven't covered in your intro that you would like us to know?
Well, like I got into fitness through Pilates when I was like in my 40s. I'm still in my 40s, but when I was about to turn 40, actually, I was about 40 when I had my youngest, Dawood. He's 6 years old. And like the first, I had put on a lot of weight during the pregnancy, and I was overweight before. And then basically what happened was, I was really unfit, and I was having trouble even like walking my kids to the school on their school walks, and I was having aches and pains, and I was feeling just no energy, aches and pains. I was referred to physiotherapy, and just the few exercises that she gave me was like miraculous. I was like, oh, that actually fixed my aches and pains. So then I was referred to Pilates, and that's when I discovered Pilates. And I would try to do like other exercise classes before, but I would always end up like injuring myself. I found them too difficult. I got sweaty. I didn't like that. And I would get all gung-ho into it. And then something would happen. I'd sprain my ankle. I'd hurt my wrist. Like something would happen and I'd be put off of it. So it was like I could do Pilates in a group class setting without injuring myself. And I could see the progress that I was making. So, and basically, yeah, I got really serious about my health, and I decided, to prioritize myself. I mean, I've always kind of prioritized myself, but I knew that I had to, make changes in my life so that I felt my age and not older than my age, basically. And so, yeah, and it was like the best decision that I've made, basically, because and one of the reasons I actually qualified in it is because I felt like fitness was out of reach for a lot of mothers, especially Muslim mothers, because we don't really feel comfortable living in the UK. I was living in Scotland at the time, and the gyms are not really that accessible to us. Women's only swimming has a male lifeguard, so. Like just even women's only group classes that were organized, again, they were just too jumpy for me. I couldn't handle all that jumping. And it was just, it just felt like out of reach. And at Pilates, there was only like one or two guys. And so I was like, this is my health. I'm going to go whether there's men there or not. And, but then I was like, I want to certify because I really want to bring this gentle form of exercise to women that don't like exercise, because you can really get fit through that. So, and I wanted to teach this online even before the pandemic, because I know how hard it is when you've got kids to get out of the house, right? So, but that is the one thing that I do really feel like women, they don't prioritize themselves enough. They're like, well, how am I going to find somebody to look after the kids?
Yeah.
But it's like something, if you think about it, fitness can be something that you're doing for yourself, like going away to Pilates class in the evening, leaving my kids, with my husband. It felt so nice. Like I was doing something nice for myself.
Yeah.
So it was like a treat, not like torture,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and here's the thing, right? It's I don't know whether you've experienced this yourself, which is something we're going to talk about. What I see with the women I work with, right? They're going like, you know what, Yusra, I want to be healthy and fit because I don't feel great and things like this, right? Then they prioritize themselves. And then what they tend to notice is their they're suddenly not screaming at their children, right? They're suddenly not having arguments with their husbands. They're suddenly okay. They're suddenly okay to go out in social occasions wearing whatever they want without having to stand in front of the mirror choosing like a gazillion outfits to find the one that actually fits them. So even though there's this, it's almost like there's a superficial layer for health and fitness, but it goes so much deeper because inherently, right?
Yes. So this is the thing is it's kind of like, you know, in Islam we have this is a Muslim audience, right, that we're serving. So like we're supposed to have this balance between like our deen and our dunya, and I feel like you know, I really took the message of Islam where Allah judges you by your heart, not your body, really to heart. Since I was a teenager, I've been wearing hijab, and I think that saved me from like a lot of body image issues. And so I didn't mind putting on the weight. That wasn't an issue for me. But it was the fact that I felt so unwell as a result of it. My joints couldn't carry me. But the point is, like, I felt like the hijab is like a blessing, protects you from such body image issues. But at the same time, there's an element where I felt like for me, it made me like not realize what was going on with my body as much. And so like when I started like getting fit, getting healthy, you know, eating healthier and not eating healthier, but we have our own discussion about that, isn't it? What's healthy? So Yusra, you were my nutrition coach, and I had my whole idea of what's healthy completely turned upside down. But anyway, what I mean to say is that, like, you know, we care about our spirituality so much that we can neglect the physical, but they're totally intertwined. Like, I recently went on Umrah, and you know, we are trying to do tawaf around the Kaaba. The whole time you're trying to look at the Kaaba and you're trying to remember Allah and make dua, but at the same time, you still have to keep moving forward, right? And you have to move forward, and you have to make sure that you don't lose your kids along the way, that you don't get separated. And at the same time, you're trying to look at the Kaaba, you're trying to make dua, you're trying to remember Allah. So I felt like this is like a perfect analogy between balancing your deen and our dunya. Our religion is all about this balance, right? The life still flows. We still got to go through the physical motions, right? And still remember Allah, and still remember that this is actually our orientation. So, you know, we can make our our exercise and taking care of ourselves like an act of ibadah. And I had done Hajj like when I first got married, alhamdulillah, and I was like, I wasn't overweight then. I was young. I thought I was fit, but I was like physically like wiped out, right? Because I wasn't actually very strong. So, and I felt like, oh, where's the spirituality? All I can think about is my aching feet, you know?
Yeah, because there's this misconception that if you're not overweight, then you're fine. You don't need to exercise. I grew up with that. People kept saying, you're so thin, why do you need to exercise? It's almost like the need for me to exercise is coming from my size. It's not about your size.
Yeah. But anyway, so the point is, like, it's if you take care of your physical body, like for the sake of Allah, then you're going to feel so much happier, right? You're going to be happier for the people in your family. They're going to pick up on that. It's gonna change everything. Like, when you're physically fit, like I can go rollerblading with my kids. Today I played tennis with one of the neighbors. I live in a place where there's a tennis court, and I was like, oh, this is way much more fun in getting in my steps than running on the treadmill. So the fact that you can do stuff like that and not be scared and not be like, oh, that's not for me, or get out of breath when you run after the ball, and you can play with your kids, and I don't know, like, it just, I feel like, to me, in my opinion, like, if, like, taking care of like your body, your physical body, in terms of like your gaining strength through some form of exercise, whether it's Pilates or strength training or something like that. It's kind of like fun, in my opinion. I actually don't think of it as a choice. Like, it is the number one thing that I prioritize in my day, because I know what life was like before.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to go back to that, because it's all about, it's about physically, but it's about spiritually, it's about emotionally.
And also, what are you doing for your children? What are they seeing their mom do? This is the thing that we often don't think about. We think the whole being healthy and fit is important for us to do for ourselves, but also we're being examples to our children. Because again, look, generational conditioning is a huge thing, and we've spoken about that, how we're raised up. We're not seeing our moms take care of themselves and stuff like that, and a lot of us fall into the same sort of behaviors, patterns of behaviors, because that's what we know. Now imagine our kids seeing their moms like, hey, she's my mom, but see how strong she is. She's my mom, but look, she's exercising. They get used to that. It becomes normalized, right? It becomes a part of life. So the impact that you're creating is actually beyond you, isn't it?
I think the generation where, when people get older and they have diabetes and they have all these health problems, I think that's over. Like, people are just discovering fitness, and the fact that it's now available at them with online. I mean, people like, I have clients that come to me for personal training or Pilates in person, but but online is so convenient for everybody involved. And it means that you're going to continue this process at home. You learn the skills and the habits that you can do on your own at home, right? Where you don't feel like I need to go to someone and they have to make me do it. Do you see what I mean? So online really is just what's accessible to us today, and the knowledge that's out there. It's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know you and I have worked for over a year or so, me coaching you online, right?
A year and a half, I think. Yeah,
it was epic. And so here's
the only reason I was able to the reason I stuck so long is because I learned so much from you. I want to learn how to be a better coach myself, but also like the fact that, like, I might have stayed with you longer if we weren't doing this course together. But I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get enough of you, Yusra. We're doing a course together.
I know,
a master's. Sorry.
And when we started, you're like, you know what? I just want to see how you work for a month, and we'll take it. I just want to see for like a month, a couple of months, and then we just hung out for such a long time, which I'm so grateful for. Okay, so here's another thing that I see with the amazing women that I work with, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are about this, right? So a lot of people who come to me, they're like, you know what, I've tried to lose weight, to be healthy and fit and stuff like that, and it feels really hard. I just can't do it. But when we get into conversations around why they think they can't do it, that they're coming from that place of, I was told I have to cut this out, cut that out, I have to train, work out 7 days a week and all these things, and it feels impossible. As a mom, I don't want to cut out foods. I want to eat with my children. As a mom, I haven't got a whole hour, 2 hours, 7 days a week to exercise. So for these women, what health and fitness looked like, it looked like this huge mountain that they had to climb, and they didn't have the capacity or the time for. So when we start to break it down and say, hey, actually, you don't have to cut out food groups. You don't have to exercise 7 days a week. When you break it down to that level and make it realistic, make it merge with their busy lives, it's amazing what they can achieve. Now, what has your experience been as a coach and as someone who isn't a coach before you became a coach? Were you getting all these scary messages of what health looked like, and were you surprised to find out what health actually looks like?
I mean, I think that in terms of, I grew up, actually, I had a very interesting childhood. I grew up eating extremely healthy, like in the sense of like organic, nothing out of a package, nothing that made like any sort of a package noise was in our house, right? Which is how I got into Islam, actually, because my friend told me that, she goes to Islam class and they get chocolate chip cookies and Coke at snack time. I'm like, count me in.
I love that.
So, because we didn't get stuff like that in my house.
Yeah.
So, and so I grew up, and that was my idea of health, right? Like, bread is bad for you, and sugar is bad for you, and meat is bad for you, and like some of it was not even like Islamically guided. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I had my. And it becomes impossible to. It's fine when you're growing up like that, but then when you're overwhelmed with life, it's hard to eat, like that sometimes, and then you end up being like, there's no balance. It's either everything or nothing. And
So
I was always just like
extremes, right? I'm either
extremes, right?
100% healthy, or I just don't care. I'm gonna die one day anyway, so it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. So, and I think, just the nutrition is, I think, if people think that they understand nutrition, or they think that they understand health, but, working with a person.
Selcan, you're muted. You've gone to mute.
Yeah. So basically, you can find ways that you eat that serve you, that you can do, and that's where you can work, like working with a personal trainer who is supportive, offers a lot of support and a lot of guidance, and you can really, like, for example, when I was working with you, you'd tell me something, I'd be like, but that's not right, and we'd have all these like back and forth chats, and then you'd send me like articles like proving your case, and I'd be like, okay. So and I was willing to learn as well, so but yeah, it's health and fitness is definitely doable, but people think they know how to do it, and they don't. A lot of people don't have the knowledge, and then the people that do have the knowledge in terms of like maybe exercise and nutrition, like they haven't gotten over the mental blocks, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I had a lot of mental blocks around exercise, and like I didn't want to sweat and things like this.
I remember, like, is this gonna make me sweat? I really don't like sweating.
So, or like I was like, when is this ever gonna end? Like, can I just like, do I have to keep, like, I thought I was just gonna exercise for a few months and stop, like, so this idea of like, having somebody help you get over make the mind shifts that you need to make, so that exercise becomes a part of your weekly routine, a part of your identity. The way you eat becomes natural, so having that support to do that is really important. So this is the thing, there's free YouTube videos. Do all the free Pilates that you want, do all the free weightlifting that you want with YouTube, but get on these subscription services. I pay every month for subscription services that I don't use. But when you attend a live class, or you work one-to-one, whether it's in person or online with a coach, that's when the shifts can really become like a part of who you are, and then you don't need that coach anymore. Although I still go back for coaching, and because I'm trying to, as a coach, I want to learn, and so
yeah. And I think one of the best things that comes out of having a coach is they can remove all that chaos, all that chaotic information online, and tell you, hey, this is what you need to focus on. Because if you're someone who doesn't understand nutrition science, everything you read on social media sounds true. Do you know what I mean? Because of the fancy words, because of the techie language, like, oh my God, sugar's gonna kill me. Sugar is going to give me cancer, right? It all sounds real because of the stories that are created and they're built. There's a mix of truth and lies in these stories. And this is very hard for someone who doesn't understand, who doesn't have that nutrition knowledge to dissect. So when you have a coach, they can clear that up for you and say, you know what, forget what you're reading online. This is what we know as far as the evidence goes. If you focus on these big things, you'll be okay. It's actually, I always say this, and I've heard this from somebody else. I didn't sort of make this up, and it's so true though. There are 20% of actions that if you do this 20%, this is where 80% of your results come from. If you focus on the basics, literally, 20%, right?
Yeah. So the other thing that about having a coach, and this is where, like my online Pilates classes or in-person Pilates classes is really good, because I've had clients who, joined my classes for over a year, Pilates online, and they've said to me, like, they would do Pilates videos from YouTube and they wouldn't, get anything out of it. And it was incredible how I was able to like give them cues, because I would demonstrate an exercise, watch what they're doing, tell them to shift a little bit this way or move a little bit that way, and then suddenly they're feeling that the exercise is more effective.
Tweaks, right? These small magical tweaks,
exactly. So they're like, oh my God, like this is actually like, this feels really hard, and I can't, like, what was I doing before? And so this is why I wanted to create like a safe space for women where they can come and they can keep their video cameras on. The way I run my classes is I put it on focus mode so that participants cannot see each other, only I see them.
Okay. I love that.
So, and then I can give cues based on what I'm seeing. And I usually just don't say the person's name. I'll just give it as a general cue for the whole class, unless the person has given me permission and they're not getting it. I might call them out. But basically, like, people, it's just amazing that, you can attend a live class and have the instructor giving you feedback, and you can keep your camera on, because I've also attended Pilates classes online but I haven't kept my camera on because there's males in the class and everyone can see each other. Do you see what I mean? So so this is I want a safe women only space where you can keep your camera on, so I can give you like more individualized cues. And I know your history. You can tell me if you need a change, and I can say, if something doesn't feel right, you can wave at the camera and I can give you an alternate exercise. It just makes the whole workout experience something that you're willing to show up for, that you're not going to miss, rather than, I said I was going to do a YouTube video tonight, but I didn't.
It helps with accountability, right?
Yeah.
Which again, someone's going to be there to support me, to guide me. And that accountability is what's going to help you stay consistent. Because look, ladies, it's never going to be comfortable, right? We don't like to sweat. It is challenging, but ultimately, it's what's going to help you, especially as we age. We know, like, there's a reason, and I talk about this a lot, and I'm passionate about this a lot. One of the reasons why we see women get diagnosed with diabetes after menopause is because of the change in hormones. Estrogen goes down, we start to store body fat in areas that aren't healthy for us. Our activity goes down because of the hormone drop. Our hunger goes up. It doesn't have anything to do with your metabolism slowing down. It has to do with the fact that our behaviors change. We move less, we start to eat more, and the result of that, we start to gain weight in areas that aren't healthy for us, and bam, before you know it, you have metabolic challenges, diabetes, cardiovascular health, and stuff like that. But when you go into this phase, like I'm perimenopausal right now, right? I'm going 41 already next month, inshallah. So I'm perimenopausal, and I tell you what, if I wasn't training, subhanallah, when it started, I was moody all the time, annoyed all the time. My energy levels were horrific, but because I stuck with my training, I understood what I was going through, I'm able to look after myself. So exercising, let's just go back to this basic understanding. Exercise has nothing to do with the size of your body, right? It has to do with your health and your experience of life. When you feel amazing in your skin beyond your size, you are going to experience life differently. You're going to feel differently about yourself. And because you're going to feel differently about yourself, that's going to reflect in your relationships. If you're a coach yourself, in how you show up as your coach, in how you deal with people, in how you experience the challenges of life. Because we know Allah's going to test us in all the ways, ladies, right? Like when you least expect it, bam, you have a test, right? So when you're strong physically and mentally, you're able to handle those tests, to handle Allah's challenges, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you don't always need to be physically strong to be able to handle challenges, like from a spiritual standpoint. But I think that it's not necessarily like the prerequisite, but I do think that it's kind of like a circle that feeds in on itself. You know, if you're strong
Yeah.
physically, you're strong
Well,
emotionally.
mentally, yeah, because exactly, yeah.
You're strong mentally. If you're strong mentally, you're strong spiritually. It kind of all feeds. It's like it feeds in on itself. So definitely, I really don't. I really think that fitness is not something that we can neglect anymore because of our modern lifestyle. I think in the old days you didn't need it because you were like walking a lot.
They
You
were
were
active. They were already active. That was their
yeah.
form of exercise, you
Yeah,
know.
like all the housework, you didn't have machines doing housework for
Yeah.
you. You didn't have cars taking you places. Like life was physically tough. People were physically strong, right? So, and now like, unfortunately, our modern lifestyle, we have to make a concerted effort. And it doesn't have to be that much effort, but it just has to be a consistent time dedication.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Yeah. So now we're gonna end this shortly. If someone wanted to start being healthy and they've heard this conversation, this amazing conversation, and they're like, you know what, I can relate to this. I'm done feeling sorry for myself. I want to feel amazing, all these things. I want to start. What would you recommend? What would your advice be to them? Let's put it that way. What would your advice be to them? How could they start?
How can they start? Like with or without help?
Well,
Get
first,
help.
so get help. That could be one, but they may say, you know what, I would love help, but I can't afford it right now.
Well, this is where I mean, I think most people can afford a group class once a week. You know, maybe one-to-one coaching is a bit more of an investment, but a group class once a week is not that much of an investment. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, just dedicating maybe like 3 times a week for half an hour, whatever form of exercise that you can do on your own, start doing that in terms of your exercise. And then in terms of your diet, prioritize your protein, right? Find out what the recommended protein intake is for you, and see if you're actually meeting that. Prioritize your protein, prioritize your vegetables, have moderate carbs and minimum fat. This is the secret to a healthy diet. So yeah, get your protein, get your veggies.
Yeah. And then obviously, like, group classes like what Selcan is offering, super affordable for anybody, ladies, like literally, right? So Selcan, why don't you remind us the type of services that you offer, and where can these amazing ladies get in touch with you if they're interested?
So I'm offering Pilates classes online and in person in Doha, and I'm also offering one-to-one personal training in person and online, similar to what you do, Yusra. So yeah, you can get in touch with me. You can email. I have all these emails, but I decided I would just choose one that's going to be easy for people to remember and spell.
Right, yeah.
So I just said, what's easy to remember and spell? So I chose getstrong100@gmail.com. So getstrong100@gmail.com. So my business was called Pilates with Presence. It's hard to spell that word. It's long. So getstrong100@gmail.com. And my name is impossible to pronounce or spell.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Selcan. It's amazing having a conversation with you.
Thank
One
you.
thing that we want to say, ladies, with regards to the course that I spoke about, that starting in February, that course is accessible for the amazing women who've signed up to the membership, to our membership, to Parenting with Allah by My Side memberships. So if you want to get access to this amazing course, and I know Selcan is going to do a few things for the people in the memberships as well, I hear, right?
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
want to get on these memberships, ladies. You know, it's going to change how you see your health, how you see fitness. There's so many other amazing courses that are going to be put up there from all the amazing coaches that are part of the Parenting with Allah by My Side team. There are 12 of us, ladies. Imagine how much support and content you're going to get from all of us. Right. Selcan, do you have any last words before we head off?
No, it's always lovely to talk to you, Yusra.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for having me on.
Beautiful. Alhamdulillah. Well, that's it. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I would love to hear your thoughts, your comments. If you found this helpful, if you've enjoyed this, just leave us a comment. And inshallah, we will catch with you all soon. Salam alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.